Is it any different than what it was a week ago?
It might not be different. They're not going to change anything in the rule book, but certainly, like any other sport, when they say they're going to put an emphasis on something, then you probably need to make sure it's right. So nothing changes from my standpoint. I think that, I understand the rule, and, we just know that they're going to be looking at it a little heavier for the next little while.
You're a sports fan, so you can look at other sports and know how the saying is to swallow the whistle at the end and let the athletes determine it. Sounds like, from your point of view, that's not going to happen potentially now. Where's the balance in allowing the athlete to determine it as opposed to, look, you know that situation happened in a basketball game last night everybody was talking about.
Yeah, certainly, yeah, it is very similar to that. The difference is where I went. It played no difference in the outcome. I know that people would like to think that it changed the result, but it didn't. We were side by side in the middle of 1 and 2, so it didn't change anything. But certainly, I can understand that. The heat of the moment. I think, from my benefit, I think the biggest positive I had was that the TV didn't show it. That probably was the key, is that the TV wasn't even looking at the restart when it happened.
Do you feel like you got away with one?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, more than likely so. But again, even if I go in the box, I don't think the result changes at all. But certainly, when I kind of explained it on Monday that when I'm looking around at the, in the mirrors and through the side, I just know I'm in the vicinity, so I just kind of go when I feel it's right to go. Obviously, when I look back at it, I was like, I was not as close to the box as I thought it was.
So you feel like if TV showed it, they may have called it?
Maybe, but, luckily for me, they were on the wrong camera.
Did you have you talked at all with Marcus Smith at all, or did you just kind of let your tweets speak?
Yeah, we did. We were kind of chatting in the middle of it, honestly.
And do you feel like was the message like, hey, the teams are asking for more money, the tracks obviously would be the ones to lose it? It seemed like that there was a message there, like the teams could do better with the money.
Yeah, certainly there was some underlying frustration from my standpoint that I let get the better of me, no doubt about it. It certainly didn't need to get personal, but it kind of took a turn for that pretty quick, so certainly regrettable from my standpoint. But yeah, it is, right? Ultimately, between the tracks and NASCAR, there's nearly $500 million in profit, and I hate to see that we're struggling swimming upstream, and that's how they spend their profits. That's just it's tough because we're in a fight, right? It's not pretty, not going to be pretty. So there's some underlying frustration there that I kind of let go out it the wrong way.
Were there anything that pointed you toward the idea that there would be an issue at North Wilkesboro that you referenced? Or
we had a car at the test that they had some issues. Yeah, I think that versus going on the negatives, I'll just tell you the positives, and that is every ISA track that's been paved in the last 6 has had no patches on it whatsoever, and so they've done a really good job of investing their profits back into the racetrack really well, and let's just kind of learn from this and move on.
Do you think there should be a electronic timing line at the restart zone? Do you feel like it sounds like they could then judge it exactly whether somebody's jumped or not?
Yeah, but again, especially on a short track, you've got 2 laps to figure it out, and if it's at COTA and you've got minutes, I think it probably changes. But man, do we really want that? Because there's certainly been there's been some viral ones going around of like some obvious jumps in the last 10 years, but I'd say more often than not, I'm going to venture to say 60%, 70% of the restarts have gone before the box. So be careful what we wish for.
Do you anticipate that NASCAR will tighten the reins on that and also on the laybacks? There's been a lot of talk about it, but no real action taken on it.
Yeah, I think they did it with Xfinity, right? I think they told us enough with the laying back. This was after, I think it was maybe Vegas or Kansas, one of those 2 tracks. We all were like, man, the laying back was getting ridiculous. I I think if they busted an Xfinity guy, or maybe it might have been a Cup guy, but someone way in the back. So certainly we know that they're going to be staring at it. So we have to be smart and understand that, you know, if the same thing happens this week, it will be called. And I saw Joey's like, well, if I do it this week, I'll be pissed. You also would be dumb because you know that they're looking at it this week.
So you'll change your approach?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, for the foreseeable future. And like I told Elton on the side, I was like, I'll make sure I keep it in the box.
I mean, if they had penalized you for that, would you argue that call last week?
Yeah, you could have, but you know, I think that you could have, but I don't know, would it have been a worse look? Probably, right? That the person that crossed the start-finish line first didn't win, but you know, I definitely understand that in the rule book it's a black and white rule, but it's just something that all of us have taken advantage of over the last billion years. And like I said, if you really want to analyze them, I guarantee you over 50% are jumped early. So just caution everyone with that.